Hey, another week, another episode. We're on episode 7 of the Stomp Strong Show. I am Stomp, this is Saad. How you doing today, man? How you doing, bud?
My life is great.
Yeah,
now that I'm retired from the Navy, my jiu-jitsu, all I do is I do my jiu-jitsu school, which is, it's not work to me, it's been my hobby over all these years, so it's like, and I go get to hang out with my wife and kids.
And I know we went shooting this week, so
yes.
I had an amazing time. And shooting was interesting because it was not static. So like, I mean, I've walked around with guns and I've shot, but I always am static. So this was like walking around and shooting. So we rented out a bay, and I did that for the first time with Saad and his boy. They've been doing that, and they do drills, and what a fun time, and how fast I realized how much I suck, let's not say suck, let's just say how much I don't know.
Right. There's so much room for improvement in so many areas, and I mean, like, you and I, we shoot, once, twice a week, and we go through thousands of rounds. But there's still so much room for improvement. It's just like anything you're doing in life. There's never, okay, I've arrived. I don't need to work on this anymore. I got to constantly work, constantly improve. And probably every time we go to the range, I learn something new,
It's the fun part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're never the good guy either. Right. There's always somebody better than us.
Yeah.
There's always something different going on.
Right.
I mean, it's never really the same thing too much. I mean, it's nice. It's a different place. It's a good place. It was a good week for me too. I got in some real serious hikes. I got in about 6 miles, I think, with the dog, and he got a new pack, and I got a lock Bowie attached to that pack, real thin, and a Macoun hawk, the bag hawk I carry all the time. So now Moose is carrying that in. I carry in the water. We did the trip to the caves twice this week. We wanted to go again, but it rained once, and I tried to take the bike out, but I had some tire issues. I'm figuring out the tire thing.
Sure.
There's all these learning curves, right? So I have so many new. Like, shooting's not a new hobby. Shooting's the one that's always stayed the same. Like, I'm sure for you could say that would be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or martial arts.
Right.
In general, you've been doing a martial art forever, right? Okay, so yours would be, so from like 12, I shot the first time when I was 12, and then I got my first gun at 18, and I would say since 18 I've been shooting regularly. Mm-hmm. And this week I discovered I didn't know really too much about it. Right. Really strange.
Yeah.
So
it's constant learning.
It's beautiful.
And that's what I love. Is like, even though I've been shooting since childhood, it's different rifles, different scenarios just bring different experiences. And like in the military, when I was on the ships, we was using the Colt 1911 pistol, which was a 45 ACP, and we was using the M14 rifle. I think the civilian equivalent to the M14 is the M1A. And then with the Marines, we went from the M16 to now the M4, which is an AR-15 platform rifle. But then when we started shooting together, maybe a year ago, like I had never shot the AK-47, or the AK or any AK platform gun.
You were a wheel gun guy.
Yeah, like for pistols, I loved wheel guns. I prefer the revolver over the semi-automatic. I've never been a semi-automatic fan, but I've grown. There's a couple semi-automatics I do like, and so then I ended up learning the AK rifle. I was familiar with the AR rifle platform, but not the AK. So that was a whole new learning experience because certain things in shooting are same, but a lot is different, and so it's just constant learning.
And we got some questions after I posted some pictures on Facebook about you in a tunnel, a little tube, and someone asked why you would do that. And honestly, I was wondering why you would do that too with the rapport.
Yeah.
But we even though me and Saad are deaf, and we yell at each other a lot, and we might even yell at the...
Well, when we say deaf, what we mean is like we have hearing loss.
Yeah,
we're not deaf to the point where we don't hear.
Right.
Yeah.
I got one ear, and he has like whatever problems with it. But we're both wearing earmuffs, and we're both wearing like nice noise canceling the battery power driven ones. We spent enough to be as comfortable as you can really be on a range.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're there like 3-4 hours. So I think I was there for 2 hours with you last week, and I had to leave early. I don't know how long you guys stayed, but so Saad got into a tube, and I took some pictures of Saad, and somehow these pictures came out wonderful, and I posted them on Facebook. It's just a great picture, man. 52-year-old.
That was really cool.
It was really good through the foliage. So cool picture.
Right.
And we had a question about why you would be in the tube training that, and I was thinking maybe you were just like acting like it was a culvert, like maybe you would be posted up in a culvert sometime, and to lay down and practice how to shoot out of a pipe makes sense in urban combat.
Sure.
And so that was my first thought. And somebody was mentioning and asking about that. What's your take on that?
Right. So when you shoot a rifle, like there's 3 basic positions that you should train to shoot at. Like standing, kneeling on one knee, or like my son can do a squat. Some people will actually sit down and shoot, depending on the terrain. And then laying, sprawled out on the ground, prone, on your stomach. You should train to shoot there. And a lot of times when you go to ranges, you'll see a cylinder, that may be about 6 feet.
It's a culvert. It's a drain. It's a drain.
Yeah.
It's a drain cylinder.
Right.
It's a 4-foot, I would say, drain cylinder.
And
culvert black has the culverts on them. It's a pipe.
Yeah.
It's a black pipe.
And so you would be in a prone position shooting through the cylinder, but the cylinder is designed to do a couple things. One, get you used to being in a enclosed space. But 2, when you're on the battlefield, say in an open environment, and you're shooting rounds, say at an enemy, this gives you more cover from the flash because, there's probably not street lights out there. But the flash from the end of your barrel, like this AK-74 here, so you can put a muzzle brake on the end of your barrel. This particular muzzle brake is more designed for recoil, but there's muzzle brakes to help hide the flash. But you get into a cylinder.
They're called flash hiders. They're not
exactly.
There's muzzle brakes. There's brakes, and then there's flash hiders.
Right. So.
And then there's actually flash enhancers now. There's a new one out that shoots it out and almost dissipates it, and it's like a recoil reducer. It's a totally different concept. I'm not even sure what the name of it is, but there's all kinds of things you can attach to the end of a gun to make that gun do different things than it would do if there was nothing on it.
So if you're shooting at a distance in particular, or doing any type of maybe sniper type work, you do not want the enemy to know where you're at, especially at night. So at night, that flash of flame, they will spot exactly where you're at. And if you're in a tunnel or a cave, and the cave extends, or that tube extends past the barrel, then you're not seeing the flash from the sides. You're only going to be able to see it directly in front of you. And then the other thing we'll do in the military is we'll get tracer rounds. Not just from artillery, which sort of lights up the target, but there's tracer rounds that you can shoot from your gun that you shoot out, and most gun ranges, especially outdoor gun ranges, will not let you shoot tracer rounds because they're basically incendiary rounds. And so you shoot out, and then 100 yards, say, from the barrel, when it comes out, it'll cause a little flame spark, which will deceive your enemy into thinking that you're 100 yards away from where you actually are, because that's where they'll see the
tracer rounds are timed. I didn't know that.
So approximately 100 rounds. I said 100 rounds, 100 yards. You'll see the flame, and so that's where I want the enemy to shoot at, because if he sees the flame coming out of my gun at night, he's going to shoot right at that flame.
And I think that night the tracer rounds are really like every 5th round, right? Or is it sometimes all of them?
It could vary. Like it could be all your rounds, or you could stagger them. And each unit will have their preference. But the idea is get in a tunnel, or you could be in a cave, or even in your house. Like your rifle would not be, if you were shooting from your house at a target long range, and you didn't want them to know where you were located. You don't want the rifle sticking out the window.
Sure.
You would want it inside.
That makes sense.
As much flame is covered inside. And like I said before, 33 years in the Navy, but I was never a Navy SEAL, no special forces. I wasn't a sniper or anything like that. So there's people out there with much more expertise in this than I do. Just from the training I received, that's my understanding of it and why we do that. So the advantage of being in a cylinder, for the guy that asked the question, I forgot his name, I apologize, is it gets you in the habit of getting into a space where you can protect your signature of your flame better, so it's harder to locate you. So the only way you see that flash is if you're directly in front of me and not above me or to my sides, and so it's harder to locate exactly where I'm shooting from. And then if I add tracer rounds to the equation, now it can really confuse the enemy as to where to shoot at me. And that's what I want, especially if I'm outnumbered.
Sure.
Or,
And what's the practical side of it? I watched you, 52. You're on the ground every day for a living, twice a day doing classes. 2 hours on the day on the ground, off and on, all day long, up and down. You can crawl up and down but on the ground better than any 52-year-old that you know, I'm sure. Let's just say that.
I'm fair at it, yeah.
Crawling up, and that wasn't easy for you to get in.
No.
And it was not easy for you to lay down in. And you didn't do it exactly the way you wanted. Got a couple rounds off and realized you needed to do something a little different next time. I forget what that was. What was that?
Yeah, it was I needed a cushion because
some type of cushion for his elbows. Yeah. So even at that time, it's cool training because if you haven't crawled in yet, which I don't think you had done at that point, so I would push that thing sideways and just use it as an idea to get low as possible. So that's what I would see myself doing with that barricade. You crawled into it after you've used it. I used the one in the front to walk behind, and what I did that day in the range was really interesting. I just took that 20-round mag, and I would take 2 shots and then move like 15 feet and stop, and then take 2 more shots, and I walked it the whole time. Yeah. I never really tried to run at all. It's the first time I've been doing this. I kind of paid attention to my feet, and then I realized when I went backwards how very awkward it was. I mean, just extremely awkward. So these are interesting drills, and
if you can learn to shoot from your stomach, being in a prone position, it also makes you a much taller, much smaller target. Like when I stand, I'm 6 feet.
Sure, that makes total sense.
So if you're shooting at me and I'm standing shooting at you, like even if you don't hit me in the chest, you hit me in the leg, the arm, the head.
And prone, not only that, but prone, you're going to get a much cleaner shot.
Right. Because now they're aiming more down at you,
and the ground's holding
my head, and the chest area where I'm laying on my stomach might be, I don't know, now it's maybe 8 inches or 10 inches, vice 6 feet 1 inches of Saad that you can shoot. So if you're laying down, it's much more difficult to hit a person that is prone laying on the ground than it is a person that's standing up.
And I think this
smaller target.
This is real practical shooting too.
Sure.
Like I've never even tried the prone thing. Just walking slowly and taking a shot was totally screwing up how good I can shoot. I was all over the place. And standing with a pistol without having a table to put it down and just relax a little bit when you're done shooting. So now I have to reholster for the first time. I spent a lot of time finger off the trigger with a live gun, staring at a holster, putting it in real slow. And I think it's the perfect place to do it. I mean, I can practice at home, but I'm not practicing that live. I'm not practicing live.
Because, and each position has its advantages and disadvantages. Like if I'm standing behind a large protective area, standing could be good. Or if maybe my protective area was as tall as this table, kneeling would be good. So I should practice kneeling. And if I'm, say, out in the woods or mountain open field, somebody's shooting at me, getting competent at shooting from your stomach is very important. The only time I would not recommend shooting from your stomach is if you're on concrete, because then the bullets could land before you and skid right on down into you. It's the same thing as we'll tell guys when we're next to a building and we're doing security ops. You don't want to be too close to the wall. You'll hear us say a foot away from the wall, 12 inches from the wall, because a bullet could hit the concrete wall and will slide right on down. And if you're too close to the wall,
Even
now
shrapnel,
it's-
you know, you might want to be off 3 or 4 feet, really.
Well, we'll tell people
Yeah.
the basic military standard: 12 inches off the wall. Stay 12 inches off the wall, so the bullets aren't skidding down concrete walls to hit you. So
Crazy.
don't go prone. You know, if you're on the street, you know, I would go ahead and stand or maybe kneel, depending on.
Run. I'm running.
Yeah.
At my new weight, under 300 pounds, I'm running, Saad.
Sure.
I'm going to take off and run crazy. So I want to give a little shout out to where we did this shooting at, and I want to talk just a little bit about that range. And when we say we went to a bay, what that means. So we have 2 questions to answer in this episode today. So one's about the range, and we're going enough. And I just want to say where we did this at and what's going on.
I got their shirt on today.
Oh, you're wearing the shirt. That's perfect.
It's LoneStar Handgun.
So LoneStar Handgun's this place that I went to get my certificate, my fingerprinting done, to get my teacher certificate, and I've always dreamed of having land, and I'm gonna have it one day. And I've always dreamed on this land of making a range and buying, like, you know, I watched, you know, Hickok 45, and he has his range, and it's just beautiful.
Sure.
And he's just outside in his range shooting every day, living the life.
Right.
And that's why I think more than anything his channel's awesome is because he's just doing what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
So I go to Lone Star Pool and get the thing, and I walk out because I don't even have no guns or nothing. I just got my fingerprints done. I go out to get the prints done, go in, and I see I see the pistol range, and it's at least I'd say 40 targets at 15 yards and 40 at 30 yards, and they're all gongs. They're all different sizes: triangles, squares, rectangles, circles. Okay, so you hit these things and they all move. They're all on chains.
Right.
So now we have this just line, and I go, oh my God! And I go, is this extra?
Right.
And the guy goes, no, that's the pistol range. I go, that's the range? That's the range? He goes, oh, that's the pistol range. And he goes, let me show you the rifle range. And he takes me down to the rifle range.
Sure.
Let me show you the shooting bay. So the rifle range is 100 yards. There's maybe 10 targets. I'm thinking maybe 8. I know there's 5 big ones and then like 5 small ones. So like 10 targets at 100 yards, all steel. There's like the same at 200 yards and the same at 300 yards. And at 300 yards, a few of the targets have a light on them. So now we can't hear anything. So you can't hear 300-yard clangs. I can't hear them. So now we have a light telling us if we're hitting. So I think it's like $11 or 10. It might even be under $10 to get in for a pass for the day. It's like around $10. We'll say it's.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I know the monthly, like, because I'm a veteran, I pay $27 a month. I think 26 or $27 a month.
So we'll call it.
And I was sold on it. As
So
soon
we'll
as I
say
got there, I was like,
$35 a month for your average guy, 20 or 27, 30 for a vet.
yeah, it's definitely not more than $30 a month.
I think it's like $11 a visit to go just for the day,
sure.
which is nothing.
Right.
It might even be like 10.
Yeah.
It might be 10.
Yeah, it's not much.
Don't quote us, right? It's not that much. And then I got the year for half off at Thanksgiving.
Right.
So I went and bought that and snapped it up. I can go any day of the week. And then how much are the bays?
The small 7-yard bays are like, I want to say like maybe $10, and then the 50-yard bay, I believe I paid maybe $30, $35.
Okay, so for $30,
I could be wrong. You know,
you get a 50-yard bay and some hangers.
Right.
We had 3 hangers. We had 4 people on a 50-yard bay. It was at least 70 yards wide. This was the big bay.
Yeah.
We got the big one. And there's at least maybe 15 bays out there, all different things,
right.
all different setups, a couple with cars, a couple just for pistol. The place is just really set up well. It's a massive, massive place. So when we talk about all this, we're doing this at Lone Star. We usually go at least once a week. If you want to hit us up, it's easy to find me on Facebook. It's easy to find, Saad's not so easy, but it's easy to find me on Facebook and Instagram. The phone number is 833-STOMP and you if you want to call about when we're going next, and we'll happily take
Well,
it.
I'm actually easy to find on Facebook. You just type in my name, Saad Al-Aziz, or Semper Fortis Jiu-Jitsu, and
You are
That's
easy.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even have your regular number actually.
Yeah.
All we do
Right.
is message.
sure. And like Lone Star, in fact, they made one of my favorite shirts I like to wear. It's Lone Star Handgun, and it's on. They just renamed the street they're on. It's out in the country in farmlands, but it's Second Amendment way, which I dig that.
Yeah,
In
that's
Converse,
pretty cool.
Texas.
Second Amendment way.
And then I like this phrase from Davy Crockett. It's on the front. You know, you may all go to hell, and I'll go to Texas.
There you
'Cause
go.
I love Texas.
Yeah, we're both
then,
transplants and love it.
this old cannon, come and take it. It's a common Second Amendment.
And just a great bunch of people there.
Theme.
We're real friendly with the everybody out at the range is just really friendly.
Susan and Mary that run the inside store, and then you got my neighbor Larry, who's retired Marine, first sergeant, infantry Marine. So like he's the range master, and it's like, this isn't a guy that just watched some movies. This is a guy that is a combat trained veteran that retired from the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
really
infantry
nice guy,
Marine, super nice guy. It's just a nice organization.
Yeah. And so all the people are really knowledgeable, and they're genuinely friendly. Like that's what sold me on the range was, I like outdoor ranges over indoor ranges because there's so much more realistic training you can get. Like on these bays that we work with, Vice, just moving a target down, staying in this little area and just shooting indoor. It's not nearly as realistic of a scenario as being outside.
It sucks. All I did was shoot indoors.
Right.
I'm talking 99% of my shooting up until I moved here was indoors. It sucked. I'd go twice, 3, 4, 6 times a year tops. 6 times a year was a busy year.
Right.
So, I'm serious.
Yeah.
6 times a year was a busy year for me shooting, and I'm not even lying. I'm not. You might think I'm a crazy shooter, but I've been shooting over time.
Right.
But I became a shooter in Texas. Straight up, I became a shooter at LoneStar. When I got on the 100 yards, I got on the 100 quick. When I got on the 200, it was a little harder to figure out because we can't see the lights. When we started shooting 300, that took about 3 months, 4 months of us shooting regular to get out there, and then realize when they that we were actually touching it. When they put the lights up and we knew we were touching it, because we will destroy 100 yards.
Sure.
I mean, we'll it's not even funny. It's great. Even at the point where I can do it with a 9mm.
Yeah.
AK-47. I destroy 100 yards. And it's always, for me, Lone Star is about hitting the steel. I like the bay.
Right.
I'll do the bay anytime. But I got to go hear that steel a little bit before I go. I was telling you, maybe we bring a gong and put it in that bay. Just a 12-inch gong is all I want at that 50-yard bay.
Well, they have I want to say 30-yard bays or 25-yard bays where they have like steel that you can shoot at. So I mean they have a lot of options.
So we're gonna be trying out. I'm gonna try out different bays.
And,
so
all gun ranges are not equal. Like what I love about Lone Star, and I don't own it. I don't have any.
No, we got nothing to do. There's no investment.
Like, they're not sponsoring us or anything like that. What I love about them is they're genuinely friendly people. Like I've gone to ranges where you'll get a bunch of guys out there. They're all looking tactical. Like they're the experts on everything. They might even yell at you. Like they just.
And I've been
less than friendly people.
And listen, the truth is, I get yelled at every range, including
I can't imagine,
including Lone Star. But Larry's gotten me at least 3 times. The kid has walked. The kid's cool. He comes up and just whispers in my ear, "But come on, Stomp, slow down," because I have a hard time shooting speed. Because we're supposed to 1 round a second, which is super reasonable. Right. We're shooting out in the country, but it's near a highway, and they don't want to. They got 40, 50-foot berms, but they don't want you doing anything dumb. So. Yeah. So they have rules, but even I got it on film when they're come over and he just talks to me a little bit. It's nothing. Yeah. It's nothing crazy. Right. It's like, come on, Stomp. You got to slow down a little bit, Stomp. Stop slow. Sure. I think that's as loud as you ever. Stomp, slow down a little bit. Right. But that's normal. I mean, so
because there's a couple different ways you can correct somebody. If I'm a paying customer, I appreciate being corrected. In a friendly, calm, polite manner.
Sure.
When I was in the military, we would do correction in a non-friendly manner, but so it's like I appreciate friendly customer
and
service.
I know what you're saying there.
If I'm doing something that's violating the rules, for sure.
Because you can go to a range and even if you're not violating the rules, they're yelling at you. Yeah. So that's the norm sort of at some ranges.
And if you're a newbie, like you're new to guns, that could really discourage you. If you go to the range and you got some guy yelling at you, you don't know what you're doing, you're unsafe or whatever. It's like that's a whole different ball game than walking up and being like, hey, sir, the way whether you're pointing your loaded gun at other people, you need to get your finger off the trigger, just
And if you're not comfortable saying that to a person at the range who might be flagging people or might be unsafe, you need to go to a range where you can walk up to the range master and say, hey, this guy's flagging me. I'm not comfortable talking to him about it. Can you go talk to him about it? Yeah. And for sure have people that are not scared to do that. And this is the type of place where if you're unsafe, they're going to be able to, they're going to come up and talk to you. They've talked to me about shooting too fast. They do regulate, but it is done in a way that's totally acceptable. I've been at a lot of ranges where you look at the guy and they don't know what you know, you don't know what they know, and they're antagonistic to you in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it turns into a spitting contest, and I don't want to hear nothing from you, and then I don't come back to the range, and it doesn't need to be like that. No. So what I like about Lone Star is they got a full gun shop. They got a full area for patches and tags and things that you would want for your gear if you were a medical or a paramedic or any of that. It's been around a long time. I was referred there for fingerprinting, and it's just a place that I'm totally gonna miss when I have to move in 2 years, man. Sure. We got to go in a couple of years, and that sucks because I mean. I'll be back in class as soon as I can, but I'm going to totally miss you and the class and the podcast with you regular. And, but Lone Star is a huge part of my day. It's a huge part of my life. Absolutely. After we get done with this, we're going to confirm what day we're going to try to go together. And even me not having any ammo right now, and I do have some ammo, but I don't have any pistol ammo, and I refuse to buy because there's a panic, right? So I'm going to wait maybe 6 months or... Maybe I don't shoot pistols as much as I did. So I think when I went, I shot the equivalent of 3 magazines, maybe 60 12-gauge rounds, and like 4 pistol mags, So that was a really light day for me, but I was absolutely spent. I was tired. Sure. I was, so I think that walking around part, you don't even need to use that much ammo.
Right. Yeah. And then if you're out there with friends, you're out there socializing, you're learning new stuff, just having a good time.
The range is a blast. Yeah. We met a kid there that had a Draco on the range. I think one of the guys referred to me being out there. Ask Stomp, he's out there. Sure. He might be able to answer your question. Saad talked to the guy. This kid's maybe like 19, comes up with his 2 friends, maybe 20, I don't know, with a Draco, and starts asking questions, and maybe 21. They looked young, but I don't know. They had a Glock, so they had to be 21. So starts asking questions, and I started giving him some information, and then I started talking about Clayco 47, and that this is a beautiful pistol, and what you might want to do to it, and this and that, and I gave him my number, and he gets a hold of me immediately, and I sent him a Clayco videos thing, and then next thing you know, he went to SaberWorks that day and bought the modification for his gun, and now he's going to go have his gun milled out and this modification put on. It's a high-end, beautiful way to mount the optic. Yeah. SaberWorks makes a mounting optic where they take out the gas assembly, you put it in, a new gas, a sight block assembly, right? And this takes on a dovetail, you can put on a red dot, or you can put on a full-on scope, and it's machined into the gun, so now it's all one piece. I mean, it's beautiful. So this kid meets me at the range, and we talk about AK-47s for 15 minutes. Sure. He leaves, gives me a call. I refer to him to Clayco 47, and he buys this beautiful piece of kit for his gun from the scratch. He's going to have a red dot on a Draco. He's going to put on the back end. He might even SBR it. He was like, I'm going to do this right. Right. So it's amazing the people you can meet at the range.
And what was cool, another thing, and it just is a testament to the Lone Star guys, because when I went in, they asked me, they're like, hey, is Stomp with you today? Because there's a young man out here who's interested, and he's got some questions about AKs and how to modify his AK. And, ex-military guys are generally going to be really knowledgeable on any AR platform. But AKs is a different ballgame. And instead of them, maybe trying to give them their best advice, they're like, no, there's a dude on the range right now that is one of the most knowledgeable people in San Antonio on AKs, and they referred him to Stomp, and so I went and talked to the young man. I'm like, yeah, Stomp is on the private bay with me. We're shooting. Whenever you guys get done shooting where you're at, just come out here and talk to us, and we'll give you the best advice we got. And then he came over and talked to Stomp.
That's how that started out. I didn't even realize that's how that even started. I thought somebody saw them and said, "Hey, go." So yeah, then super interesting, right? Because in my world, a modified AK is the norm. I mean, this is as crazy as it gets, really. This is a Krebs custom with a full-on Cerakote job and every modification you can imagine from a Trijicon MR. No expense spared on this at all.
Sure.
And it's just one of my favorite guns, and it's one of the sickest guns, and it's got a folding stock, and it's just crazy. It's just really, 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 really sick. And so I've spent a lot of money on regular AKs, and I've spent a lot of money on modified AKs, right? And these modified AKs end up being a deal compared to putting all your time and paying somebody to do all this with a gun that could be subparly built that we talked about a couple of episodes ago. So I like the idea of knowing that there's 5 dudes in a shop who build these things and their quality control is extremely high and they've been in it for eons.
And it's just a difference of what me and Stomp prefer. Like, Stomp's is customized by a guy named Mark Krebs. I think it's Krebs.
Yep.
And he's, like, for Americans, he is the guy. Him and, there's a couple other guys, like Chase and Jim Fuller, who are just experts at souping up the AK platform gun, with American know-how. Like mine, this one right here is
Russian.
It's Russian, and it's exactly how the Russians made it. It came out of the Moloch factory.
Yeah, it's sick.
And I haven't put any American parts on it. It's just because I just prefer to have it exactly the way the Russians made it. Matter of fact, even the magazine I have for it, it's a Russian Bakelite. It was just one of their military surplus magazines that I was able to find, and it looks crazy. You load this in. It's like it's mismatched color, but it's an amazing weapon.
It's a folding stock too.
You can fold the stock, which is very cool.
Yeah.
And work like that.
So it's interesting.
So
same idea.
Yeah.
Old school,
right.
New school. It's the same concept. It's the same concept. One is made in Russia. You paid what you had to pay for that. We'll say it's not what they used to cost when they first come in.
Right.
And we think you got a deal on that too.
Sure.
And in the end, when I have all this crap on mine, I paid about that too.
Sure.
So we're right in the same ballpark with these two guns.
Whatever you buy, make it something that makes you happy. And
some of Mark Krebs' old Vepers, when he used to make Vepers, are going for like $5,000-$6,000 now.
Wow.
So this gun originally was $1,900, and then I added only the sight and the thing and the brake. So the brake was like $150, light was like $150, $300, and this is like $600, $500. So there's like another $1,000. So I got like $2,800 into this total, maybe 28. We'll say 28. Yours is about that too, and I think you got a deal on that. You had to do an auction. They started out somewhere around $2,000, and then it goes up.
Well, I don't talk about prices because my wife watches this video.
Right, so I didn't say it.
It's none of her business how much I paid.
But
it's my money.
Yeah, that's one way to get in trouble.
Well, I was like,
See, I trade guns when I want to get new ones, and then I just say, hey, I just traded. I just trade around. Or I don't really talk too much either about what I'm doing. It's kind of like they just sort of show up. I don't think there should be too much discussion on that type of thing when you're old.
But the thing is like when you buy your weapons, buy what you want, but train with them as often as you can to get really proficient in it. And especially in this modern era where people are like, I don't think we need a police force anymore. Matter of fact, let's go with social workers. Well, then that means I have to do my own policing to protect my family. And I should have the best weapon I can get that I believe in if I ever have to. Because I hope I never have to, protect my family.
Talk about apocalypse knives. Look at this apocalypse knife. This is from C. Carmack from California, man. So this is another thing I wouldn't skimp on is knives. You know what I mean? We talk about knives. We talk about guns all the time. We always talk about having we're doing a lot of fun stuff. It seems like. I don't know how we both got to that place in life. You have children, but I don't, so I have a little freedom, luxury. Right. But I think these things are important for guys like us to do. There's a lot of stuff that I do that doesn't make sense to people now there's a lot of stuff that I do that does make sense because it's working. And one of the other questions we got, a little transition from the first one, was supplements. Saad, you've been in the stay fit, at least from activity and martial arts, forever.
Sure.
I come from a pretty weird background where I was always really tall. And at one point, I was a thin person up till about 3rd grade.
Right.
And then I was steadily huge. And I think I hit 300 pounds my 7th grade year. So I was definitely like 6'4", my 6th or 7th grade year, and like 300 plus pounds. And over time, the question was about supplements. And I know your answer to this. Saad doesn't take too many supplements, but what he does, what he also isn't on is a lot of meds either.
Right. So, like, and me and Stomp, we have different philosophies, and that's cool because I'm not interested in watching a show where 2 guys have the identical philosophy, because it's like, well, why do you need both to talk? Might as well just one of you talk, because you're both saying the same thing. And in this particular subject, you know, we both agree with AKs, but we differ on the supplements. So, for me, if you've ever one of my favorite all-time Western movies, Outlaw Josie Wales.
Oh, it's a great movie.
He's on this raft where this fella he's getting Josie and Josie's friends across the river because the Union Army is chasing them.
I love that.
And he's getting across the river, and Josie's friend in the movie is dying from a severe wound. You know, he's really in bad shape. And so this salesman in a white suit, aka snake oil salesman, comes up to Josie and he's like, you know, this here in this bottle, you know, will cure whatever ails you, can do just about anything, and, you know, it'll really help your friend. And Josie was a very skeptical man. And he looked at the bottle and he said, it'll do about anything, huh? And he spits his tobacco on the fellow's white suit. And he's like, well, let's see if he'll get that stain out. And the salesman went on his way, and Josie did not buy the snake oil sale.
Are you saying you're Clint Eastwood?
No, but I dig him. I dig that movie, Outlaw Josie Wales, and that's really my view on the supplement market. GNC is a billion-dollar business. They're making a ton of money selling stuff that isn't FDA approved. There's no scientific data that what they're using is working. So when I've had supplement makers try to get me to sell their products in my school, and I won't do it because when I show somebody an armbar or a choke, any joint lock in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they trust that what I'm showing them absolutely works. And they can test it and they can see. I don't want to betray their trust by selling a product that I don't believe in that may or may not work, because they'll be like, well, you know, if Saad said it worked, everything Saad shows me in Jiu-Jitsu works, so if he says this supplement works, it'll work.
Have you ever taken any?
I mean, over the years, I've tried different stuff, but like what I think is, like, I had a student in class it was either Saturday or Friday night, and her name's Angel, and she had tried some kind of pre-workout thing. And she felt her skin was like burning and her face was flush.
That means it worked.
And, you know, like, somebody else is in there talking about it's thermogenic, some kind of thing I don't even understand. I'm like, well, maybe it is the thermogenics of your body getting used to it, whatever thermogenics
It's called
means.
caffeine.
Or maybe you're poisoning yourself, and that's your body's natural reaction to be flush.
Maybe you're jacked out of the mind right now on caffeine and ginseng.
What I know for my pre-workout,
coffee.
Black coffee.
Yeah, Saad's coffee all day. So Saad's going to tell you coffee.
Black coffee, because
coffee,
if
and
you
then
look
some
what's
more
in
coffee.
these energy drinks or any of these pre-workout things, they contain a high level of caffeine. And then other stuff.
My recommended drink of all time is water.
Sure.
I'm totally addicted to Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm not saying I'm not saying I have any semblance of what I'm putting in my body as far as when it comes to the Diet Dr. Pepper, but I do like it.
Yeah.
So I'm a water and Diet Dr. Pepper guy. And the supplement thing is funny because but I wanted to ask you, how many meds are you on?
Just one. I'm on a blood thinner because I have this rare blood disorder.
So that's like a thing he has to stay on, or else he's
take.
going to have a problem.
Right.
It's nothing to do with his diet. Look at him; he's obviously svelte.
But
when he walks by, people just shudder and glee how handsome he is.
No.
I mean, I see it all the time. You walk by, and people, oh, that's Saad.
I wish.
That's Saad.
I wasn't born pretty like that. No.
They go, are you friends with him? I go, yeah, I'm friends with him. That's Saad. I know that dude. I know him well. So so it's handsome as a devil, and needs to take that medicine, and also doesn't ride his motorcycle anymore, or want to go rock climbing, or can't mountain bike, even though he wants to. He had to change a little bit and that's what you did too. And I want to bring up the you found out you needed to take some cholesterol medicine. I'm gonna summarize it.
Sure.
I'm gonna because you talk a long time.
No.
Summarize it.
You tell your stories. I'll tell my stories.
Okay, you tell yours.
So, the doctor wanted to put me on cholesterol medication because I had high cholesterol and I don't like taking pills. So I just changed my diet. I'm like, well, what can I do? And they're like, well, you can work out more.
Did that work?
I own a gym. Yes, it worked.
Changing the diet worked?
It worked. I didn't need to take.
What'd you do? Pescatarian, right?
Yeah, I went to a pescatarian diet.
No meat.
You know, it's seafood, and it's basically a vegetarian diet that allows you to eat seafood. And that's what I do. And it works for me. It lowered my cholesterol.
Did you lose any weight? Or did it just do the medical thing?
No, it didn't cause me to lose any weight.
That's
you
cool.
know, I still eat the same amount of food. I still do the same amount of workout because it wasn't a weight loss thing. It was just I needed to lower my cholesterol. And then after a while, I lost the taste for meat. And I was like,
beautiful.
So I never went back to it. So 4 years ago, you could have said, Saad, you're going to stop eating, beef, pork, chicken, turkey, whatever, and still be on this diet. It'd be like, oh, no, you're crazy. No way I'm going to do that. But here I am 4 years later still doing it.
And on my end, right, so Saad's no supplements, one medicine, and it's nothing for heart or anything like that. And when he had to take something for his potential cholesterol, he got onto this diet and it switched in 3 months, and he's kind of switched over to that, and he's totally comfortable and been for 4 years. Me, I used to be 600 pounds.
Right.
I used to be a crazy alcoholic. 8 years ago, I stopped drinking. I don't know. A normal night for me back then was about 8 steel reserves, at least 4 big ice house tall boys, and maybe 6 or 7 shots. That was a regular night.
Right.
If you look at steel reserves, each one of those is about 3 beers. The ice house is about a beer and a half each, so it's somewhere around 30, 40, 50 beers a night sometimes. I don't even know. And that was forever. So I drank that forever until I ended up with pancreatitis, and I had it for like a month before I actually called the doctor about I fell off my porch at work. And then I stopped drinking that day. That was 8 years ago, almost in September. So at that point, somewhere in there, I got checked for testosterone, and it was super low. And I was a crazy alcoholic too, so maybe that had something to do with it. And I was also maybe at the time, I wasn't 600 no more. I was about 480. So at the time I'm close to like 480, 475, and maybe 500. I don't know. And I got the testosterone checked, and it was so low, and I got put on testosterone. So immediately on the testosterone, they put you right on zinc, and they put you right on saw palmetto. So these I've been on for maybe 10 years. And testosterone. Like today I took my shot.
Sure.
I took half of a milligram on Sundays. So I gave myself a shot. I've always been on levoxythiorin. This is a thyroid medicine. I'm very hypothyroid, so this regulates my thyroid. And I've been on that for 15, 20 years. And this is Meloxicam. Meloxicam is a lifesaver for me. This is a anti-inflammatory, and it's a strong one. So I take this in the morning, and this helps me with all the foot rebuilds and the destroyed back and all the arthritis and the aches I have. So this is an anti-inflammatory I take once a day, and if I don't take it, I pretty much know it. My feet hurt pretty much a lot that day compared to some, and it's all relative what that means. And so these are like those two I'm never getting off, most likely. So the hypothyroid and the Meloxicam. Maybe I get off the Meloxicam when I keep losing weight because it's becoming easier and easier and easier, and I'm conditioning my feet way more than I ever have. So walking is becoming so much easier the more I lose, and there's not too much more to go. I'm about 295 now, and I think I'm going to be about 240 when I finish this, and I started out around 600. So, and then the other thing I take, and I'm religious about this, and this is a supplement, straight up from a company,
right?
And I've been affiliated with these guys for like 3-4 years. So this is a place called doTERRA, and I'm not saying you got to get it from me or even how to help you get that really quickly. I'd have to go call my sponsor because I don't even push this on nobody.
Right.
But I've been taking this for like 4 years, and this is like a vitality pack that is just vitamins. And a wide range of vitamins, and they call this the lifelong vitality pack from doTERRA. And I've been with doTERRA now for about 4 years, and I take that, and I know about 2 days in if I forget to take these. So these I have to take no matter what. I just put them all together in like one of them vitamin things, and I'm pretty religious about taking my vitamins, and that's my vitamin regimen. Now, I want to. Oh, my last one I didn't show you. Metropanol, and this is 0.5 milligram a day.
Right.
So no, this is 25 milligrams a day. Excuse me, a 0.5 milligram.
But
Half
what you're
milligram
showing them is like
doesn't make sense.
These 3 things here. These are FDA.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, these are
approved
musts.
medications. Like there's
I'm
science
gonna
there.
be this off this soon.
Right.
I'm gonna be
But
off
the
this
other
hard
3
medicine.
items,
Yeah.
the saw palmetto, the vitality pack.
No, these are doctor recommended. My
Right.
doctor told me to get these because of steroids.
Right.
These you have to take with steroids.
And I mean, like there's no question when you talk about the supplement market, like what you get at GNC may or may not be snake oil. I think it's snake oil. But like there's a reason like NFL players, MMA fighters, baseball players, cyclists,
Yeah.
track stars, even high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitors are popping on steroids. It's because steroids clearly work.
Sure.
They will give you an athletic advantage. They may shorten your life. I don't know the whole science behind it, but there's a reason that they're generally regulated or illegal, and or a doctor can prescribe them to you at some level. But if you said, well, what works? Steroids absolutely work.
Sure.
I don't take them, but
Well, you need to.
there's enough professional athletes
I would say that if you're,
competing
I
for
would
millions of dollars, they can say, oh, if they're, like these high-level athletes, they could buy a GNC store if they wanted. If GNC had what worked for them, they wouldn't be on steroids. They would be on the GNC
the
stuff.
professional athletes that
Sure.
are representing those companies are getting paid to rep those companies. That makes
Sure.
sense. It's sponsorship. That's how they make their money. There's no money in being a giant weightlifter unless you have a sponsor. So
Right.
they're being paid to rep that stuff. And I take doTERRA because I have to pay a certain amount per monthly to get my order in. So I get the structure of this is different, right? So I got into it, but I know if I don't have it for 2 days for sure, and I know if I don't have my testosterone, and this is really serious. Testosterone's very serious.
Oh,
if you were
absolutely.
walking around and you can't sleep and you're super irritable, see, I was very irritable before I didn't have it. I was extremely low, and then to get on it regulated me and kind of made me level out and not fascinate on certain things and not be so out of sync, right? So you're getting your blood, you're getting your levels in. Now, for me, I am pretty much a carnivore diet. Like what I eat is meat, man. I eat meat and eggs. So my diet's gone from keto or from keto 5 days a week and a juicing lunch as part of that. And then on the weekends I would eat carbs, and I didn't lose much. And then I did keto and lost quite a bit, like 150 on keto.
Yeah.
And then the last 50 I've done on carnivore now.
Nice.
So I had somewhere around 330, 340. Beth went to a training no more than 4 months ago, and I was 340 then, and now I'm like 295. So somewhere around a 35, 40 pound weight loss doing carnivore in a 3 hour a day eating window. So sometimes it's just one meal. It's really a 15-minute eating window. Yeah. And then I go the whole next day and wait. So, in that eating window, I'll have a, pound and a half of food, and then I'm done. And the beautiful part about this diet, and when I say intermittent fasting, I say it's not even a diet no more for me. It's, if I start eating early and then I'm hungry all day. If I wait, there's like a lot of energy in my blood, and I'm not working on sugar no more, so I'm burning fat. So I have plenty of energy coming from me during the day when I'm not eating. I'm getting into some type of homeostasis level where I actually have to go get my testosterone checked because I think I've lost enough weight that I might not need the testosterone no more.
Right.
I'm at a point where I punched a table the other day so freaking hard I took out my hand, my elbow, and my shoulder. That was like 8 weeks ago.
Right.
And I haven't punched a table since my 20s. Don't worry about why I punched the table. I mean, it was I lost my temper, right? It was like me being a little bitch. It's really what happened is me crying a little bit to the point where I wanted someone to watch me go stupid and punch the table like a moron. And I paid for it, man.
Sure.
I paid for it hard. I haven't been in your class since then, and it sucks. And I can ride the bike, but barely. I can't do no bunny hops or try to do what I want to do. And so, you know, I need to go get the testosterone checked. I got blood taken 2 days ago to get it checked, just to see where I'm at, because maybe I'm past the level of normal, which is 180 to 300. If I'm sitting at 600, maybe I got too much in me. I needed, or no, excuse me. I was 180. The normal is 300 to 800. So if I'm sitting at like 1400 because I'm taking too much, I need to know that.
And what you did was incredible. Like, it doesn't happen. Like, people don't go from almost 600 pounds to what you just said, 295. Like, you literally have lost
check this out. I've never showed Saad this. This is a ball of leather, right? This is my old belt.
Nice.
Hold that.
Wow.
I mean, that's my old belt. I'll stand up and put it on.
So that's impressive. I mean, that's crazy that you've lost that much weight.
Isn't that I don't have no pants or nothing.
Yeah.
But I got this belt.
Nice.
That used to be me.
Right. That's amazing.
You see that? Isn't that crazy?
That is.
So that's what 300 pounds. Man, I was a. I don't know if you can see this.
But I think what's important is
It's crazy though. But that's my old belt, man.
do what Stomp has done, which is work with a doctor. Because when you go to GNC, that clerk behind the counter, I know they like to call themselves nutritional consultants or some crap like that. Maybe that's a week or 2 weeks of training. Don't mistake that for a nutritionist, which is a doctor that's had maybe 10 years of training. You know, like your nutritional consultant is not at the same skill level as your nutritionist. You know, so talk to a doctor about, you know, what will work for your body and what's safe for your body.
Get your levels regulated.
Right.
Get you know, testosterone or not, you need to find out if you need it. If you're running
Sure.
really low or running really high, you need to figure out why you're really high. I've never heard of anybody really high at our age. I'm 47, you're 52.
Sure.
So I needed it. I've been on it, I think, 9 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So my weight loss may have something to do with being on testosterone regularly for 9 years.
Maybe.
But I'll tell you what, I everything I think is diet. So my weight loss is controlling me. My weight loss is loving me.
Yeah.
My weight loss is getting out and making those hikes on feet that have been rebuilt 5 times, even when it's hard. You know, my weight loss is not be scared to go into the gym and get something done, even though you're scared to go to the gym. And I'm talking about your gym.
Yeah.
I was scared for no shit, 94 till this year to go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class. Mm-hmm. And I was 6'4" at 1.6. And now 3, and I was still nervous at 350 to go in your class, and I'm the third biggest dude there. I'm second biggest, for sure. And there's a couple way bigger dudes that are right underneath me that are jacked, that'll destroy me. So I'm nowhere near the biggest guy in there, but I'm pretty big compared to everybody.
Sure.
So I shouldn't have too much to be scared about, and I was scared. So man, the key is love you. Don't worry about nothing. Don't worry about the class. Just go. And if the dude's a dick, find another one. Go to a different class. Go to the yoga class. Don't be scared that you might fart in yoga. Everyone does. It's normal. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of it. Don't be scared to go to the range with a gun you've never shot, a Draco, and ask the question. Because the question is how things get answered. The exploration of life is what's important. It's not necessarily the supplement, for sure. But you might want to take the supplement because you go to the gym 3 times a week. And you want to do whatever it takes. And maybe that is a little bit to help you. I don't know. But certain things, your meds can't be ignored. You have to work on, this is my goal, to get off of these 2, metropanol and meloxicam. If I can walk my feet to a point where I don't need that in the morning after taking a 5 or, you know, my goal is a 5-7 mile hike and not need that. I can do a 4.5 mile hike, so I'm close. Maybe I just don't need it one day. Maybe at 2:30, I don't need these 2. Then they're gone. And this one I'm going to probably have for a while. This is the
hypothyroid. You're working with your doctor there.
You're
working with an expert, not a GNC nutritional consultant.
Sure.
You know, like you're working with somebody that knows
Yeah.
and studied for years. And you know, like my personal recommendation when people say, "Hey, what do you think I should do?" I think you should eat healthy.
Number one, diet. Yeah,
Yeah, like,
exactly.
No matter how much exercise you do, you can't out-exercise a bad diet.
I'm going to honestly tell you about the ratio to exercise to losing weight ratio.
Mm-hmm.
It is 90%. I would even go 95 diet. I swam 6 miles a week as a 580, 600-pound dude.
Right.
I swam 6 miles a week every week.
Right.
6 days a week I'd swim a mile. It would take me an hour and 20 minutes. So I was in some type of shape.
Right.
Some type of weird shape.
So you got to do both. You got
to do both.
You got to have good nutrition, eat good food.
Number one.
And then number two, get exercise. Whether that's, you know, you may start off, maybe it's just walking. You know, maybe
Absolutely.
it's hiking. Maybe you can get into cycling. Maybe you get into martial arts. You know, tennis, basketball, whatever, jogging, whatever excites you to where you can go work out.
Yep.
And if it's fun and you work out and you burn calories, that's a great time. And it's good for you. And I think that's the key to good health. Nutrition and exercise.
And discipline, right? You can't get the exercise or the nutrition in unless you make it a priority. You have to be disciplined. I have to know what I'm eating that day. I have to know, like, it's right now it's 6:10. I haven't eaten anything yet today. I'm going to get off talking to you maybe whenever, and then I'm going to be done. And I'm going to have my one meal, and then I'm done.
Right.
And then, dude, guess what I'm not going to do till the next day? Is eat.
Right.
So I have to be disciplined to eat in a half-hour period to a 3-hour window. Sometimes I'll have a little bit of peanut butter on a keto-free ice cream bar right there at the 3-hour window just to get a little snack in.
Right.
Because I didn't get a second meal. Because I'm talking 2 meals. If I work out, if I do 4 miles, I'm eating 2 meals.
Right.
I'm eating a bunch, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a hangout for an hour, chill with the dogs, maybe walk around the block a little bit, try to get a walk in. Try to move a little bit, right? Whatever that means. And then eat again at the 3-hour window where I have a 15-minute, and then I got 2 meals in, especially if I know I'm hiking in the morning, because I get up at 6 and hike for 3 hours when I'm hiking. It's a 2-hour deal at least. So,
That's incredible.
So I'm doing that off no food.
Right.
I have, Diet Dr. Pepper when I wake up, and a bunch of water, pound the water, take a Diet Dr. Pepper with me, 2 waters, Moose is 2 waters. I take 4 waters, or 3 waters, 1 for Moose. He can't have more than 1. It's a regimen. I know exactly what's going on. He knows exactly what's going on. So this regimen is important. Beth doesn't tell me not to do that. Beth actually comes with me. Beth has never said anything but you're killing it. So I have a supportive person in my life that
awesome.
reminds me every single day I'm killing it. I have all the accolades from everybody. I get it from you every day.
Sure.
Anybody that hears the story, anybody I show the pictures to, I have constant reassurance. That is new,
Right.
weird, little bit. It's very strange to go into a bathroom and take a shit and not worry about it. It's very strange to go into a store and buy a pair of pants.
Right.
Because I can wear a size 48, 46 pants that fit.
Nice.
Very strange, right? So I am living a new life. So this new life is a discovery. The hike's a discovery. The ability to get underneath somebody on top of me and still breathe. And not be dead.
Is you might be the healthiest you've ever been in your whole life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
Which is
about
amazing.
it. There's no doubt about it.
And that's my general philosophy on life is like, I turned 52 in a couple months. Stomp's 47. The reality is, the average human in America, average male, lives to 78. So Stomp and I have lived more years on this earth than we've got left. Yeah, maybe I make it to 104, but that's very rare. So maybe Stomp makes it to 94. Which would be twice your age, but that's pretty rare. So you have to determine, like, is this diet, is this exercise worth, the adding quality years to your life. You may not be able to add years to your life with a healthy diet and exercise, but you can add quality years in, like, how you're living, like whether you're, there's
That's
a lot
the
of people,
worst part, bro. From my
sure.
angle, I robbed myself.
Sure.
I fucking robbed myself, man. I mean, straight up, bro.
Right, through alcohol,
from
diet, exercise.
alcohol,
Yeah.
diet, fucking up,
Sure.
fucking up.
Right.
I robbed myself until this year.
Sure.
I'm 47, figuring it out.
Right.
I'm 40 fucking 7, figuring it out. Do not be fucking 47 and figuring this shit out, man. Right. You can figure this shit out at 15, 12, fucking 10. There's no excuses not to love yourself.
But it's better to figure it out now than not figure it out.
Yeah, buddy.
Sure.
I'm living a different life, man. I'm living a different fucking life, man.
Sure.
I'm loving it. I'm not around nobody that's not bringing me up, man.
Right.
I don't accept no more bullshit in my life. There's a few things that I know about me, and I'm gonna love me better and better and better and better. And if that means I need to spend time doing something, I'm doing it. And if that means I need to not spend time doing something, that means I'm not eating.
Sure.
That means I'm not eating. It's not worth it. Food is way overrated. It will fuck you up if you're not paying attention to it. You need to be disciplined. Mm-hmm. And if you want to lose weight, I'm telling you right now, I'm talking to you. I've lost 300 pounds plus. If you want to lose weight, figure out your diet. It has nothing to do with the gym. Nothing. You can be in a wheelchair and lose weight. Figure out your diet. Get your head right. Love you. You do not have to eat bullshit. Absolutely. And if you're fat, that fat will come off of you if you don't eat bullshit. Cut the carbs, cut the sugar is what I did. Yeah. No sugar, no carbs, very little anything else but meat and eggs and cheese. And tiny eating window. That's what I did. I can't talk about anybody else. There's all kinds of ways to lose weight, but it all comes to you being disciplined. Right. So you better love yourself. You better be disciplined. Make the time. I had no problem spending money on guns and knives and bikes and things that make me happy. Right. When I love me and I get better at all these things, I'm expanding me. I'm making me a better person, right? So the supplemental thing is a must for me. I'm gonna be on supplements forever. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be probably taking this. Maybe not. Maybe I'm gonna be coming off testosterone soon too. But these two are gonna be forever. I'm assuming the thyroid's gonna be at 230. Maybe I go a couple years and don't need the heart medicine. Don't need the Meloxicam. I can see coming off of those. I don't have a heart problem at all. I think the last time was 110 over 65 or something. I mean, it was so normal. It was ridiculous. So my blood work, everything is paid attention to highly by the doctor. So whatever the doctor says, yes, is very important, but you can come off these meds, I think, in time. I've come off of a couple meds in my past. So you can definitely lose the weight, man. There's no excuses for losing the weight. It's all a matter of when you're ready to love you. That's all it is. Yeah. When you're ready to be disciplined, you'll do it. If not, you'll die from it. You're going to be a fucking dead fat motherfucker. That's what's going to happen. If you don't figure it out, you're going to be dead. Sure. So I was going to be dead if I didn't stop alcohol, and I damn sure would be dead earlier if I didn't stop eating. And if I don't continue this lifestyle, it goes away. I can go off carbs and gain 10 pounds in a day. Easy. So it's very much about stacking days, stacking wins, understanding you did this to yourself. Hey, nobody did this. You didn't love you. Now, those are things I have to figure out. Why didn't I love myself so much? Sure. I've gone to some counseling. That has helped me. Mm-hmm. All of these things, I'm all about it. Let's explore the brain and figure out why we're dumbasses and why we're doing well. And I think it all comes about loving you more and paying attention to who's around you. And if you love you, you're going to do that.
Right. And I think, we've probably hit our time. And my last piece of philosophy is don't look for a magic pill. There's no magic pill that you're going to take that's going to fix all your problems. Talk to your doctor, but you're going to need to have a healthy diet, and you're going to need to exercise, and you're going to have to make some lifestyle changes, but you're going to determine, I go to Walmart, I see these magic weight loss pills. It's like, it ain't happening for you. No pill is going to make you lose all the weight Stomp lost. He had to lose it through self-discipline, his healthy diet, getting active, taking care of himself, working with his doctor. Those are the things you should look at.
Stacking wins, man. Those little wins.
Absolutely.
Those little wins. Yeah, my goal was a size 34 pant. I don't know what that means size-wise.
Yeah, who knows?
My buddy John, who's like this big badass cop in Sarasota, he's a 36. Nice. So my job is to get maybe just a little hair smaller than John. Sure. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So that's my reference, right? So I'm thinking 34 pants, but I think that's probably around 230-ish, 240-ish, and we'll find out, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think it's definitely happening, and really anything under 300 I'm just so excited about.
Absolutely.
And so happy it's happening, and the time with the dog and everything. And I guess we'll call it a day.
Man, I think it was good podcast.
Yeah, we got 2 questions answered from the last podcast. We didn't get into anything else really.
Right.
I guess the whole podcast was about ranges and supplements.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we don't really come into this with a plan.
No.
It's strange. So there you go.
Ask your questions if you got a question.
Yeah, please
We'll give you our
contact
best
us. Facebook, Instagram. I'm Stomp, NU Capital on Facebook. Stomp NU Customs is easy to find on Facebook. And Saad is Saad Al-Aziz. And Semper Fortis Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Stomp Strong. Have a beautiful week. We will see you next Sunday.